Hello everyone, I'm Patrick Johnson, the site coordinator for Military Adaptive Sports Program here at Walter Reed Hospital in Bethesda, Maryland. We're happy to have you here today joining our cycle clinic. We're going to learn a lot of good stuff from two great coaches, so I'm just going to turn it over and let them introduce themselves and keep social distancing.
Hello, my name is Ray Clark. I run the adaptive cycling program here at Walter Reed for the past 10 years. Before that, I worked in the bicycle industry for 14 years, managing a local bicycle shop, and raced bikes as an amateur for about 15 years. I have a passion for helping other people enjoy the sport of cycling.
Awesome. And I'm Greta Namanis, coach with the Navy's Wounded Warrior program, as well as coaching some athletes outside of military programs. My background is in competitive cycling. I competed with the U.S. Paralympic national team for about 10 years at the elite, international, and professional level. And now that I'm retired, I've transitioned to coaching. So I work with athletes from very, very beginner all the way up to the international level and everything in between. So really happy to be here with you guys for this week's virtual clinic.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach Ray and Coach Greta. We're going to get started, guys. We're going to start off with a little bit of Coach Greta's going to talk to us about some technology using Strava. So me and Coach Ray will.
All right. So one thing that is really important when you're starting out cycling, and especially as you get a little bit more involved, you become a little bit more advanced, and you're working your way up that experience level, is data, right? Everybody talks about data all the time, but what does it actually mean? How do you collect it? How do you track it? So there's a couple different ways that you can track it. And for those of you who are new, one really, really good and also free method is an app called Strava. And you guys may have heard about that already, but it's a free app available on iOS or Android. And I can walk you through how to upload an activity or sync. If you have a bike computer, you can sync your GPS computer with the app to upload automatically. All right, so after you've downloaded the Strava app, you're going to want to open it up, and you can see your feed, explore a little bit. You can record an activity, but we'll start here at profile. So you'll want to create a profile for yourself. It includes your experience level, height, weight, age, that kind of basic information. This is where you'll track all your different activities. Now there's a couple different ways that this app works. So you can record an activity using your phone's GPS signal. So you can see the warning. Right now I'm inside. We have a weak GPS signal. But if you are outside, you could use your phone in place of a dedicated cycling GPS computer. So you would simply start the activity there and then stop it when you're done. If you don't have access to GPS, or you're going to be doing an indoor training ride, what you can do is from the main page, go up to this top part here, the plus, you can add a manual activity. So you'll select your sport. There's a whole bunch to choose from. We'll just focus on riding. So select your sport, type in the time. Let's say we did a 1 hour and 7-minute ride, and we covered, I like kilometers, so we'll say we covered 21 kilometers. Okay, and then you'll see that it actually calculates your average speed automatically. You can also set the time. If you forgot to upload, you can change the date, but we'll pretend like we did this morning. You can name your ride. You can add a different activity, you can add a photo to your activity. You can change, again, the type of activity. Is this a workout? Is this a race? Or just kind of a general ride? You can even create your own equipment profiles. So my road bike, my mountain bike, and then torture device, that was my time trial bike. So you can select the equipment that you've used, save activity, and it's good to go. So depending on if you're in clubs or if you're sharing this information with a coach or a program coordinator, then they have that information as well. So they know how long you're riding, how hard you're riding, and all that basic information. So that's Strava 101.
All right, folks, when you're starting out to ride, it's 100% fine to use a flat pedal and your regular athletic shoes. That'll get you started. That's all you need to pedal a bike. It's what we all rode when we were kids. As you move on up, you might want to start using a pair of cycling shoes and some pedals that you clip into. This is a sample of a mountain bike shoe. On this, the cleat is recessed in the sole. It's kind of rubberized sole, so when you're walking around, you have good footing underneath you. A mountain bike pedal is like this guy. Either side is going to be up. I highly recommend these for anyone starting out that hasn't used clipless pedals before, especially a rider that's going to be on a recumbent, because as they're cycling, gravity's going to want to pull their feet off the pedals, and we don't want them running over their legs while they're riding. A road shoe sample here. The cleat is outside of the sole. It's a very hard, slippery sole. Great for riding the bike, not so good for walking around in. On these guys, there's a sample of your pedal. The nose of the cleat will engage the front. As you step into the pedal, push down, it will snap in place. To disengage, just rotate your heel to the outside and it will release. And also here, have a good view of where your foot should be on the pedal in general. So you want the pedal right underneath the ball of your foot with the pedal spindle in between your big toe and your small toe, the first and the fifth metatarsal joint on your foot. So when you're pedaling the bike, your power stroke to kind of feel like when you're walking up a set of stairs. You can feel that underneath the ball of your foot. I want to go over a couple things on seats with you all. Contact points on a bicycle are very important, as you all can imagine. So I have a few samples of some ladies' seats here for you all to take a look at. These two saddles are basically the same, except for the one is 10 millimeters. This one's 10 millimeters wider than this saddle. This is a wide, a medium, and then they would even come in a small, appropriate for an individual. Those are a couple ladies' saddles. This is another ladies' saddle, a little bit more generously padded than those guys. Frequently you'll see seats that have a cutout in the center to relieve any pressure so that you can sit on the bicycle properly. A saddle is a very important piece of your equipment on a bicycle because you're going to be sitting there essentially the whole time you're riding the bike. So don't hesitate to invest in a good saddle for your bike. All right, so one of the things that's going to be really important to staying comfortable on a bicycle is getting yourself a pair of bicycle shorts, okay? These guys are called bibs, so they have little suspenders built in. There's no waistband. The advantage of a bib type short means you don't have a waistband constricting your abdomen as you're trying to get oxygen in. The most important feature on your cycling shorts is they have a pad or what's called a chamois built into them. So if you look inside these guys here, you can see the pad, your chamois. That helps support your flesh, so it keeps your flesh in place in between the saddle and your bone. It also helps reduce any chafing that you might get while you're moving around on the seat. You can also get some products which are designed to reduce friction. Chamois butter, chamois cream. There's dry slide, which is popular with a lot of the triathletes. Normally you can apply these directly to the chamois or your skin. And then one of the other important things with cycling shorts is you wear them directly next to your skin, commando style. Hey folks, I'm going to mount this bike in one of the trainers like a lot of you all are going to have in your rooms. This is called a progressive resistance unit trainer. We're going to mount the bike in the back end here. It's important to have a skewer that's appropriate for the trainer. New ones will come with those made out of steel. I get the non-drive side in first, align the drive side up, snap firmly into place, and support the front wheel so the bike is approximately level. And the next thing we need to do is inflate the tires on the bicycle. I'm going to bring my handy pump over. These bikes are equipped with what's called a Presta valve. This is smaller than what's on your car. There's a little fitting on the end. You unscrew the fitting, give it a tap to break the seal open, push the pump head down on firmly, and lift the lever to lock. Then I'm going to inflate the tire up to the manufacturer's recommended pressure. So on this guy it is 120 psi. To remove the pump head, unlock, and then push the pump head off the valve. You want to screw that guy closed. On your bicycle, you have Schrader valves, like what's on your car. It's very important to use your valve caps there to keep any debris from getting in and contaminating the seal. On these Presta valves, valve caps are not required. Then you're going to bring the resistance unit up so you get contact on the rear wheel. That's a little loose, so I'm going to screw this guy righty-tighty, bring it up. That's a lot better. Now I'll be able to mount the bike and get in my workout. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this bike so that it fits Greta. I'll show you a couple things that we like to do. If I'm doing a fit on a bicycle, I want the bicycle to be level. So I've got my bubble level here. If you don't have a bubble level, only a poured concrete floor is a good substitute, a good estimation of level. Okay? Most people are going to be most comfortable with their bike seat approximately level, maybe up to about 2 degrees down. And you can put your footboard on top, get out your bubble level to check and make sure that you're pretty close to that level zone. Okay? So, Greta, if you go ahead and mount the bike, you can use that pedal there like a step to make it a little easier to hop up on the bicycle. Don't clip in on your right side. Go ahead and sit on the bike. A good way to approximate your saddle height is if you just place the heel of the foot on the pedal, and then you'll have a completely straight leg. So that looks like right about where we are here. So if you would go ahead and clip in for us, Greta. And then if she goes ahead and pedals, so that looks really close, but from my eye, she's just a little bit low. One of the tools that a lot of bike fitters and some of your physical therapists you might be familiar with use what's called a goniometer. They're normally looking for a 150-degree angle in the leg. That's measured from the greater trochanter through the center of the knee down to the malleus. Now, when she's pedaling the bike, she's going around. It can be actually difficult for me using this goniometer to approximate, to hold that exactly where she is and get her foot to stop at the bottom of the stroke. I like to use this so you all can see. I'm more concerned. The landmarks of the good bike fit is she's going to have that knee angle approximately. From here, I want to try moving the saddle up a little bit. So if you stand on the pedal for me and move forward, please. And I'm going to raise the seat up just a little bit. Straighten that out. There we go. Okay, so go ahead and if you can pedal for us again. Okay. That looks really good to my eye. How's that feel, Greta?
Feels pretty good.
Feels pretty good, okay. Now you can see she's also, her ankles moving as she goes through the pedal stroke. That's completely natural. Different riders use a little bit different technique. Some riders use what you can see there, she's really pointing her toe. Now maybe she could drop her heel for us. Those would be signs that you might be a little bit out. Go ahead and pedal natural again, Greta. And that's kind of more normal. Now, if you're a heel drop or a toe pointer, it's not necessarily wrong, but that's not usually what we're looking for. We're usually looking for kind of more of that natural movement. If it feels like you're reaching a little bit for the pedal, you probably are. So, when the rider's on the bike, it's important that they sit on there kind of the proper way. A lot of folks never get taught how to sit on a bicycle. So you don't want to sit on the bike straight up and then kind of lean towards the handlebars. You want to rotate that pelvis and have a nice long extension in the back. From here, you see she's got a nice gentle bend in her elbow. Her torso angle is approximately 45 degrees to the horizon. And Greta's a former world champion, so she's pretty comfortable on the outer limits of where we would go. She has good range of movement. And in her humerus to her torso angle, it's right about 90 degrees. So we're using her skeleton to support her body so that she doesn't fatigue prematurely as she's riding. So that's letting the skeleton do as much of the work instead of the muscles. Up front here, she's in our standard riding position. This is what we call riding on the hoods, okay? Because these are your brake hood covers. So you can reach her brakes here. Right hand works rear brake. Left hand is going to work your front brake. The right hand also works the rear gears on the bike. We'll go through those in a minute. You always change gears while pedaling the bike gently. And you can see, so that's on the hoods. If she holds up here, we call that the tops. She has her thumb wrapped around the handlebars for safety so her hand doesn't come off. And then if she's riding fast, descending, cornering, racing a bicycle, she's going to be down here in what we call the drops. From here, she can still reach the brakes. She can reach her gears. She's in an aerodynamic, powerful position where her body is spread across the bicycle, keeping a weight distribution between both wheels. She's going to get the best handling characteristics out of the bicycle in a position about like this. Now, again, when she wants to maybe kind of cool down, she's going to come back up in a little bit more relaxed position like this. Another landmark on the bike fit is I like to normally see the rider's knee over the pedal spindle. So if she brings her feet to the 3 and the 9 position, and I drop my little palm bob off the front of her knee. Normally we want that between right through the pedal spindle. So I might actually want to move her back. This isn't her bicycle. So she might be slightly forward here. That might be, she's not on her own saddle on this bicycle. So, but the idea is normally you want the knee of the pedal, the knee right over top of the pedal spindle.
Quick, very important thing, if you are using a wheel on the bike, a smart trainer, very important that you calibrate your trainer according to the manufacturer's instructions before using the trainer. Today we're going to use one of the Comfy trainers. So I've already installed the bike in the trainer securely, cleaned the tire with alcohol, and inflated the tire to the manufacturer's recommendations. Now I'm going to bring the resistance unit up against the tire. On this, I'm going to give it about 3 good twists to get it a little firm tension between the tire and the resistance unit. If you give your wheel a little jerk back and forth, you notice that there's no slipping between the tire and the resistance unit. I'm going to mount the bike using the pedal like a step. Hop on, pedal, get this guy up to 25 miles per hour. Let it coast to a stop. I'm going to come back to my handlebar control unit, which is mounted here on the rear of the trainer, and push F3, showing the rolling resistance calibration is in the range. So now the computer knows how to control the unit.
Hey guys, so I'm demonstrating rollers, which is a little bit more advanced home training method. But one of the reasons why I really like rollers is that it exposes any inefficiencies within the pedal stroke. So if you are a really herky-jerky pedaler, or somebody that maybe we would say you're pedaling squares, it means you're kind of clomping on your pedals, inefficient, and what's going to happen when you get on the rollers is you're going to bounce around a lot. So I really like rollers for, one, exposing that weakness and that inefficiency, and then two, being a really great way to address that inefficiency. So you can see on the rollers, you want to have a nice still upper body, just like you would out on the road, and a nice smooth, efficient, circular pedal stroke. So you can see my feet are moving around in a nice, even, smooth circle, not that jerky, kind of herky-jerky pedaling squares. And a lot of times you can hear that, especially on the rollers, because they tend to be a little bit quieter than a home trainer. And there you have it, rollers.
All right. Next up, we're going to do a quick fitting on a recumbent. So when you're mounting a recumbent, first thing you want to do is stand over the boom. Go ahead and grab both of the handle shifters that are on the sides here and sit down into the bicycle. If you've got a parking brake on your recumbent, it's usually a good idea to have the parking brake engaged before mounting. Or if you're riding on the trainer, you got the bike on the trainer in your room. So we're going to adjust this up for Greta. So if you go ahead and mount that like I showed you, please. Then she's going to stand over the boom. She's going to find the controls behind her, and then she's going to carefully sit down into the bike. So gravity wins in a recumbent. Gravity never stops. So let yourself scoot all the way down in there. Now we're going to do the same thing to adjust the boom length on this, the pedal extension. So just do your heel all the way out to the pedal. You can see I need to shorten this up about 4 inches. So you can move that out of your way forward, please. So, all right, extend heel out again. Up, a little far still. All right, see how we're looking here? All right, that should be good. So I'm going to tighten the boom in place. And you go ahead and engage this guy. And on these, just like on an upright, you've got your gears for your rear and your right hand. So while pedaling the bicycle, go ahead and pedal. Get into a little bit easier gear, you pull back with the right hand. A little bit harder, you move forward with the right. These guys have a brake for each of the front wheels. Their disc brakes are very powerful. So you want to normally use those guys gently and apply nice and even as you're going into the brakes on these guys. So, and left hand is going to work left brake and the front shifter on these guys. So I'll demonstrate how to change gears here. Oh, Brad's got it. Low range for going up big hills. You're going to come back in the middle. That's for kind of cruising around on flat terrain. You're going to get in the big ring. That's for going fast, going downhill like you mean business. So these handles can be moved in closer or further away from the rider. So depending, and you can move the handle in and out so that you've got that convenient reach to the lever. Important part here, you want to have the headrest to support you. So with your helmet on, and lean back and start hitting on the buckle a little bit. So that headrest is going to be just a little high for her to be comfortable. I need to drop that down below the buckle. And lean back, gently into it. Lower, right up there. All right, I'll secure that guy. Now she's nicely supported there. The headrest is just a little light support. You don't want to be pushing into that with your weight or anything. And if she's pedaling again, you can see that nice gentle bend in her leg where she's not reaching for the pedals. Nice and relaxed. She's looking forward where she's going, as far down the road as she can see, trying to predict what's happening.
All right. I got a flat tire. Got to stop and fix this. I'm going to hop off the bike. I'm going to move safely out of the roadway. Shift the bike into the small sprockets. It'll be a little bit easier usually to get the wheel out of the bicycle. Open the quick release on the back. The wheel doesn't just fall out. Give it a smack and it will normally pop out of the back. Lay your bicycle down, drivetrain up so that you don't damage the gear changers on the bicycle. If the tire hasn't gone all the way flat already, release the rest of the pressure from the tire. It's usually helpful to break the seal. You're going to move the bead of the tire away from the rim of the wheel. Got my tire levers here to get the tire, without damaging it, off of the rim. These have a little hook on one end and a little pry on the other. So I'll slip that underneath one bead of the tire. You can hook that onto a spoke, which makes it easy to get your second lever in and work your way around the tire to get the bead all the way off. Pull your inner tube out. And what you want to do, try to find out what caused your flat. You pump some air into your tube. You can frequently find where the air is leaking out of the tube. It's coming out here. I'm going to trace this back. Line the valve stem up with the hole in the rim. I was leaking here. Ah, there's a piece of glass. So I'm going to remove that piece of glass. And you want to go ahead and double check. Make sure that there's nothing else stuck inside your tire. You can carefully run your hand through the inside of the tire. Visually inspect. Well, the common cause of flat tires while we're here is the rim strip might move and expose some of the spoke holes. So you want to look around the rim strip and make sure it's covering all the holes that exist in the rim here. And you put your tire back on. It's good practice to put your label at the valve stem. Work half your tire on. Get out your new inner tube. Take a patch kit when I ride. That's my second line of defense. For my first flat tire, put in a new inner tube. Unscrew the valve. We'll put a little bit of air in here to give it shape. It'll be much easier to install the tube in the tire with a little shape. Screw the valve closed again so the air doesn't leak out. Install the valve firmly down through the hole. Make sure it's pointing straight at the hub of the wheel. Lift the tire up over and tuck the inner tube into the tire. You want to work both directions, moving the inner tube into the channel, the tire. Push your valve back up a little into the tire. Both edges of the tire into the rim. snap that sucker on with your hands if you can. It's last resort. You can use your tire lever to wedge that on. A lot more likely to damage the inner tube using your tire lever to get that last bit of the tire on. If you can get it done with the strength of your hands, you're a lot better off. Then we'll go ahead and inflate our tire. Opening the valve up again. Press the pump head on. Pull the lever up to lock it. Give it a few strokes and go ahead and inspect your work. Make sure that the tire appears like it's seating on there everywhere. You don't see it popping off. Then go ahead and inflate it to the manufacturer's recommended pressure. Most of these road bikes, that's about 100 to 120 psi. Get your pressure, unlock, push your valve head off, rotate the valve closed. Good idea, give your wheel a spin. And then if anything was out of whack, you'd probably see a bubble there. If you did see a bubble, come to a stop, quick, open up the valve and let your pressure go down. Putting the wheel back in, you know that you're going to put the chain on the small sprocket. The quick release is in the open compartment. The chain on the small sprocket, just lift that wheel straight up in. When tightening your quick release lever on the bicycle, most levers should engage, should feel really free play right to about there. And as you fold it close, it should be nice and firm. I want to go just a wee bit tighter than that is. And that'll leave a little imprint in my hand. Can't open it with one finger. Take at least 2 fingers to open it. Give it a pedal. Make sure everything's turning free. Good to get on and ride.
Well, we're wrapping up our cycle clinic. We had a great time here with some great rides and some great information from Coach Ray and Coach Greta. And we hope that you learned some great stuff here. Once again, Military Adaptive Sports Program will be carrying all this information on the Warrior Care website. So go there, check it out, rewatch it. If you have any questions, you know how to contact us. Go to Warrior Care website, contact any of the site coordinators, and we'll get you going. So let's get out there and have some good, safe rides. Once again, thank you, Coach Ray, and thank you, Coach Greta. And let's ride fast and safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.